Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, as you all know that Shanghai Spirit and the Shanghai 5 started its journey with this spirit in 1996. In 2001, Shanghai Cooperation Organization nomenclature was described, and soon after it was expanded from at least 6 members to 8 members in 2017 when Pakistan and India joined the organization. Just recently, Iran becomes the part of this important group. Now, 9 countries were there in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan just last month for 2 days Council of Head of Governments meeting, which is the second highest forum of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Pakistan was represented by caretaker Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jilani, and during his speech he has given lots of important proposals with the theme that Pakistan wants this organization to be more action oriented, and in that spirit Pakistan also highlighted the overall theme, which is basically the mutual trust and respect, and along with that, through that mutual trust and respect, development and prosperity as a shared area. In that particular Shanghai Cooperation Organization, China and Russia are the 2 important players. This whole organization represents at least 40% of the overall population of the world, and globally the 20% of the GDP. So it's a very important organization, and how Pakistan is going to steer this organization, particularly the Council of Head of Government next year's meeting, as Pakistan just assumed its next year's chair, and what are the Pakistan's proposals and how they are going to be the action oriented in near future. So we will discuss all in detail, and to discuss this we have in our studios Dr. Wasim Ishaq, international relation expert. Welcome to you, sir. Along with that, Brigadier Hamid Rashid Malik Sahib, he is the foreign affairs expert. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. And Ms. Saira Ijaz will also join us online, and she is with us. So most welcome to you, Saira, as well. So we'll start our discussion, viewers, from the very important first area, that is the transport and connectivity, which was proposed by our caretaker foreign minister, and the speech was very articulated. How do you see particularly the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, its cooperation in the trade, economy and connectivity areas, particularly when we are talking about transport connectivity? How do you foresee that how it is going to forge economic growth in the region?
Thank you very much, Faisal. This is a very important question. But before directly going to the answer of this question, I would like to highlight the global and regional environment which are prevailing in today's global order as well as the regional order. On one side, we have a Shanghai Cooperation Organization whose manifesto is actually a win-win cooperation, shared destiny, shared future. While on the other hand, we have seen the global conflicts in terms of Ukraine war, in terms of Gaza war, and in terms of host of hotspot issues and instability in Korean Peninsula, etc.
And they are surging with the passage of time.
They are surging with the passage of time. But at the same time, in the midst of hotspot issues, we have an organization which is talking of the global development, connectivity, common development and shared destiny and shared future. So in that context, the last month's summit at Bishkek was very important from 2 aspects. One, from the overall stature of this organization, that it has not only gathered away from the zero sum and geopolitical aspects, it was more development for actually integration of the region. And in that, since we said that it is almost 30% of GDP of the world and 40% of population, so we were debating the issues related to the common development and common prosperity of all of those people. So in that context, Pakistan had assumed a lead role in a sense that next year Pakistan would be actually chairing this session as head of the entire summit. So in that context, whatever the Pakistani foreign minister has given, the suggestions, they are very viable. And especially he talked of the CPEC, and he has offered the SCO countries to take the benefit of the CPEC potentials in terms of regional connectivity, transportation, infrastructure development, as well as people-to-people contact. And he also suggested the way of the student scholarship in terms of the knowledge corridor development.
Definitely, and to take this whole discussion forward, Brigadier Sahib, when we are talking about CPEC, its extension to Afghanistan, and particularly about the regional connectivity, Eurasian corridor was also very much discussed during the meeting, because you know that Central Asian republics and Russia has a lot of interest in that. So how do you see these connectivity initiatives and their linkage with each other across the region?
I think that SCO is becoming a very vibrant and very productive forum for Eurasian area. And what we see that the strategic from the history also has been hinting that if anybody who is going to control the Eurasian landmark is going to control the world, or as it is Europe.
Well said.
And for the control of Eurasian landmass, the control of Central Asian state is vital. In that context, now this connectivity, actually it is also one of the offshoot of BRI. And what we see, the different streams which has been floated by China and Russia, that is BRI and also CPEC and as well as the SCO, these all have a geostrategic connection with each other, because they are all moving in the one direction, and that direction and objective of the SCO is also spelled out, that one world, one family and one future. So that the area Asia was considered a backward or developing area, as well as Europe was considered a developed area, and there was a hegemony between these two. And so, the American
so as you said that
also.
As you said that one future. So when we are talking about future, it's important that we have to harness whatever we have, particularly in terms of youth bulge. And Saira, Foreign Minister has also described and also proposed a youth-oriented mayors and initiatives at the Council of Head of Government platform, particularly when Pakistan will host this important event next year. So how do you see particularly the youth development in SCO region, and particularly when Pakistan is focusing a lot and having more than 60% of the youth population?
The next year, or the theme for the next year, will be the year of ecology. So we need to first identify that where we can utilize the potential of youth, and for that we have to prepare them for the upcoming challenges, and where we can tap the full potential. And the FM detailedly talked about the relevant sectors of the region. Since the world is moving towards regionalism more and more, I guess it's very important that the focus in Pakistan should now involve all the stakeholders.
Saira, Foreign Minister has proposed youth development through digital economy. So this was basically the proposal to the Council of Heads of Government meeting, and it was very much appreciated at the forum. Youth development through digital economy, because this is the era of technology. And if you are not going to harness your youth, particularly when we are talking about Pakistan, then it is totally impossible to take much benefits out of this more than 60% youth bulge. So how do you see this proposal, because it is very viable and very timely?
Faisal, we are living in an age where internet, computer technology, artificial intelligence, and as you also said, the digital economy is actually now the future of Pakistan and for Pakistani youth also. Luckily, we have a good base, and only problem is that we need to harness our youth with those technology, with those expertise, that they become a productive part of the world. And we have already discussed that international environment is that if Pakistan has good expertise in IT, as well as information technology and then the computer technology, Pakistan is going to contribute a lot. And when we come to the platform, the SCO, I think our Foreign Minister has been very candid in not only projecting Pakistan achievements, but also giving a way to the world that where Pakistan can contribute and where the international investors can come to Pakistan and harness our potential. And when we come to the youth, I think we have a good youth bulge, but only problem is that we need to have proliferation of the technological institutes all over the Pakistan, and especially in the far-flung areas. But we see that in the cluster of the major cities, we do have good institutions available for training of the youth. But when we go in the far-flung areas, this point is missing. And if we have to give for far-fetched areas the same technology and same training institute, I think our youth will be well trained to become a very productive part in not only SCO as well as in the project of the CPEC.
So, Saira Ijaz is with us online. Saira, when we are talking about our youth bulge, and it is not only the case of Pakistan, because Shanghai Cooperation Organization region has abundant of the youthful human resource, and it is very much needed to harness this potential. So, how do you see particularly these initiatives, what Caretaker Foreign Minister announced there or proposed there at the Council of Head of Government meeting?
Yes, I think it's a very positive development, and it's they move in the right direction. And I think it will provide not only to Pakistani youth, but the youth of Central Asia, Southwest Asia, and overall South Asia. And to the youth of China and Russia as well, that entire member states of the SCO will be benefited from it. But again, there is a need to develop the infrastructure, and there is a need to develop a proper whole network of preparing our youth for the upcoming challenges and for the new demands of the of the time. Like they have to be trained in IT, they have to be intelligence, artificial intelligence. So it's a very good proposal, but we need to work on the projects and on the networking where our youth can be prepared for these opportunities. We can be, and they should cater to the markets, IT markets as well.
So, how do you see particularly this poverty alleviation, because this is the core theme of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and China and Russia are stressing hard on this, because, and Pakistan also. So, Pakistan also proposed a revival of the working group on poverty alleviation. So, this meeting would also be convened soon. So, how do you see this initiative?
Exactly. Since as the world after the formation of UN and after 1945, they decided to develop a world economic system, and the world trade will be enhanced through international organizations like WTO. But we have seen that such plans have remained unfulfilled. They have not only the West or the developed countries have got benefit out of it. As far as the developing and underdeveloped countries are concerned, South is concerned, and we haven't seen any much results. So it's very, very good and positive initiative, because now the South and the regional countries and here the role of such organizations like SCO have become more important, that now they can do something for their own regions and for their own countries. So I see that now the role of SCO has become, and the ASEAN organizations like ASEAN, SCO, and other such forums, multilateral forums, have become even more crucial, since the overall system have not produced the good overall results for the world betterment.
So, Dr. Wasim, how do you see, we are talking a lot about the technology development and transfer of technology and all that. So, how technology can play a role in poverty alleviation?
Okay, very good question. I think we have to keep a few considerations in mind. First, SCO is a platform which is a voice of Global South, and mostly they are underdeveloped or developing countries. So, one platform which is out of zero sum, and over here there is no geopolitics. Everyone is working to help out the others. And a good question on poverty alleviation, I think we have a very successful model of China, taking at least 200 million people out of poverty just in last few years. Amazing. And they have been able to create a moderately prosperous society, which was actually to be done by 2030, but they have been able to do it 5 years earlier. So this is a very successful model, and we can follow that model. Now, transfer of technology and IT and e-commerce, they are all interrelated. We are aware of all these necessities, and we are also doing the capacity building. And let me also share with you through this forum that NAVTEC is working a lot in technical education of our youth. And besides that, we have a new tech which is only focused for the technical education. So on that model, there are different institutions which are going to be established all around the country, and our youth will be given at least those many skills that they will be able to honorably and respectfully earn their livelihood through e-commerce, not going to certain offices, but just sitting on their laptops and doing a lot of business. And other than that, we have seen investment which has been promised by Saudi Arabia and UAE in terms of IT sector, and especially in Lahore. So we are just waiting for the next elections to happen, and then whatever government comes in, they have to just put those whatever the promises have been done into actions. So we are witnessing a sort of IT revolution and e-commerce revolution waiting for us in next 6 months to 1 year, and we are at the right side of the history to capitalize those opportunities.
So at the particular forum of the Council of Head of Government, it was also discussed and emphasized by the caretaker foreign minister as well, Brigadier Sahab, to you particularly, that peace and stability in Afghanistan is vital to have all these connectivity, integration and economic and trade linkages within the region. So how do you see this issue particularly, and to discuss it in a clear terms that Shanghai Cooperation Organization must have to discuss Afghanistan and and do something for the stability and peace in that particular region?
Faisal, this is very important aspect, and while Pakistan will be having the chair for the next year, and I think it will be on the agenda of Pakistan to ensure a peace and stability in Afghanistan. What we see that geo-economics has its own dimension and overtures, but at the same time it hinges upon the geostrategic and geopolitical environment.
Obviously.
And in that geopolitical and geostrategic environment, peace and stability figure out to be the most critical and most prominent one.
Obviously. Yes.
And when we put it in our region, what we see that on one hand, we want regional connectivity, and being located on an ideal location, Pakistan can act as a pivot for east and west movement, and also, but in that complete landscape, what we see only problem is Afghanistan and the instability in Afghanistan. But what we have seen in the last 3 or 4 months, that there is some sort of normalcy being developed in Afghanistan, and hopefully if the Taliban government, they take positive steps for the public safety and security, there will be some sort of peace being there. And as neighbors of Afghanistan, what I think Pakistan, Iran and also China indirectly have a very positive role in that effort. And what we have been doing in the past few months, that we have been trying to make Afghan government realize that they have a very huge economic potential available to them, which can be used for the betterment of their people, for the poverty alleviation, for the human development.
And definitely Afghanistan and its interim government has to think in a larger canvas, because that is very important. Saira, when we are talking about stability in Afghanistan, do you really think that in coming months, years ahead, you see some sort of stability and peace within Afghanistan to realize this dream of connectivity and regional integration, particularly when we're talking about Afghanistan?
Yes, now Afghanistan has left with no other option but to bring stability in their own country. And I see the recent decision of Pakistani government to send all the Afghanis to their own homeland. They are left with no other option. Otherwise, it will be a constant problem for the entire region. And over here again, the role of such SCO has become even more crucial. And I think that the big powers like Russia and China would also want to have now stability in Afghanistan. I think that over the period of time, now it's been 2 years, they have realized this thing, that they have to mend their ways, and they have to, cooperate, and they have to bring some elasticity in their approach. And certain events and certain statements by the Taliban government show that they are thinking in those lines, and there is no such retaliation when it comes to sending, though there are certain voices, but not a very strong retaliation when the Pakistani government decided to send the Afghan refugees back to Afghanistan.
Okay, okay. Your point well taken. Brigadier Sahib, the same question to you. Is there any realization within Kabul? Because it's all about political will, but we haven't seen in past years at least that some of the projects which were already initiated like Trans-Afghan Railway, like CASA 1000 and all others, but there is a very slight movement on that.
I think there is some change mindset. What we see that their Commerce Minister was present in the BRF forum, and also that what we see that they have now again reassured their pledge for the going for the Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan pipeline, and also they have also there should be some progress for the Trans-Afghan railway network. So all these, I think, with the change of mindset, what they have realized, and I think back of mind is that they need some resources for development, for the betterment of their masses, because any government without any development works, without any socio-economic uplift of the people will not be popular. And if they want to be popular, and if they want to have some say in the public, they have to have some development project for which they want resources. And I think with this change of mindset and also a realization, now they are a government in Afghanistan. Earlier they were thinking that they are not having a very popular support of the public, but that have changed a lot. And I will also like to highlight the Afghan cricket team's win also is giving now uniting their nation. It will act as a gel.
Definitely,
and the Taliban
congratulations
should use
to
it.
Afghanistan on a particular thing as well, because Afghan cricket team is playing well. Brigadier Sahib has just mentioned, but overall, when we are seeing, Dr. Sahib, if I just carry forward what Brigadier Sahib said, that peace and stability is very vital if you want to progress, to have economic development and all that. So that is what Shanghai Cooperation Organization is stressing. That is what Pakistan wants. So how do you see about the banned outfits and all others who have already taken refuge at the Afghan soil at the behest of any third country? They are inflicting lots of terrorist activities, not only in Pakistan but also in the region. So how do you see that Afghan government is very much proactive in tackling all those banned outfits?
Thank you very much. Very important question. I think over the last 2 years, how the Afghan government has tried to present itself to the world, in my opinion, they are changing to a great extent. They are not as hardliner as they used to be. And also, they have brought a degree of stability within Afghanistan. With the excessive engagement and rather a constructive engagement by both China and Russia together, bilateral level as well as at the multilateral level, it has provided a lot of diplomatic space to Afghan government to really reposition itself. So from that context, despite having internal issues with respect to human rights violations and female rights and etc., they have been able to reposition themselves with respect to a bigger picture of the as the regional organization like one SCO, and like we have seen trilateral and quadrilateral dialogues which have been happening in the past. So their political leadership has matured over a period of time. And with respect to the banned outfits, those were existing within Afghanistan, and last 20 years of US and NATO forces, they could not actually eliminate them. So that challenge would remain and that would continue to haunt them. However, I think gradually they have realized that they will not provide space to those terrorist organizations, but at the moment they don't have a capacity. So as we proceed with larger picture of engagement in terms of bringing stability as well as infrastructure development concurrently, I'm sure the China and Russia would provide them a sort of capacity building where they would be able to.
Doctor, very important point. Brigadier Sahib, do you think that it is the need of hour that Shanghai Cooperation Organization, particularly from their platform, because RATS is there, because that is the regional anti-terrorism platform. So capacity building and training to the Afghan interim forces or their soldiers is very important in that regard. So if we overall the Shanghai Cooperation Organization wants stability in the region, so why not to impart training to them and capacity building in that sense?
Before answering your question, I think what is more important is first we need to recognize the legitimate government of the Talibans. And while their Commerce Minister was there in the BRF, I think some sort of recognition is being accorded to them. And once they are
that is some sort of de facto recognition, but
maybe some sort, we can't say de facto, but some sort of recognition, and also a pledge to contribute for the development and peace in Afghanistan has been ensured at the BRF and by the SCO. And Afghanistan being one of the I think observer in SCO, I think it deserves that SCO platform should be provided to the Afghan military establishments, so that they not only harness their capability to fight against terrorism, but also some strategic framework is also provided to them with the I think support of the SCO and neighbors also. And I think Pakistan will be in good position to provide them a better training for the terrorism, because the record of our Pakistan army, I must say, is very appreciable, and the world recognizes also the successes of Pakistan in the war against terrorism. And I think when they will be given that armament and that capacity and that training, the menace of terrorism will be eliminated from the Afghan side. And the Afghan government now, they are very positive and they are very supportive that the Afghan side should not be used for any cross-border terrorism.
But in that Shanghai Cooperation Organization, I think so one country which has not taken the Shanghai Spirit in its real spirit. So how do you see that? This question is to both of you, because India is always using this platform for its political point scoring and for whatever known reasons. So why do you not think that this one country is actually spoiling SCO?
I think answer is yes as well as no. But since we are now in era of multilateralism, and this is one such platform, we have not seen hawkish Indian statements during those sessions. So from that perspective, while India is abiding by the Shanghai Spirit to an extent that they are not explicitly giving those statements. However, behind the scene or on the sidelines, they would be expressing certainly. But in the overall construct, we have seen a very effective means of communication in terms of Russia and China together. So therefore, India is not getting that space onto those forums where they could exploit these forums for their political gains. And otherwise also, such forum cannot be utilized for political point scoring against the other countries. So therefore, in my humble assessment, India's position is constrained as far as this SCO platform is concerned.
So what do you think, Brigadier Sir?
I would tend to agree and disagree a little bit, because what we see, India has never acted responsibly when it comes to the regional peace. Their hegemonic stance and belligerent attitude is I think worrisome, not only for Pakistan, for China and for other countries also, and SCO platform itself. What we see, India is coming with the double standard in SCO. At one time, they want that regional connectivity should be there, but at the same time, their foreign minister, even in the latest meeting, was talking about their own initiatives, that what they want, that the Gulf states and Indian corridor and other things. On the other hand, the ethnicity and Hindutva, because they also fear, because on the charter of the SCO, the extremism is one also the point where they want there should not be any extremism which is going to affect the sovereignty or defense of the other countries, and it is one of them. And other aspect of their diplomatic failure, I say challenge, is that they want to have to be part of SCO, but at the same time they want to be having Americans ally for the containment of China. Now these are two conflicting things which India has not been able to, as such, to balance that.
So Pakistan is now, Pakistan has already assumed Council of Head of Government's chair for the next year 2024, and Pakistan is going to host first ever meeting of the Council of Heads of Government. So question here is that what are the expectations as Pakistan pledged to take Shanghai Spirit forward? Along with that, Pakistan committed that Pakistan intends to, that this whole organization must have to be action oriented. So some words from you all, please.
What we see in one sentence, I must say that our foreign minister has been very candid in putting forward Pakistan future plan for the next 1 year. What and other important aspect that he said, now we need to have actionable steps for their direction. And what is that? He said
Objectionable in the context of India, I think so.
yeah, India may think objectionable, but what we see, it is a diplomatic success for Pakistan.
No doubt.
For one
no
year,
doubt.
India wanted us isolated and from the world. But what we see, that being as the chair, we will have the initiative to suggest what should be the way forward. And our foreign minister has very candidly, because what he said, that transport, connectivity, youth empowerment, poverty alleviation, technical advancement and technology transfer, because
Okay.
all of these
Okay.
are steps.
Doctor, please.
I think this SCO meeting next year would be a biggest diplomatic opportunity for Pakistan to showcase its diplomatic skills, which I think in last 75 years we have demonstrated a marked diplomacy in terms of balancing our relations with the great powers as well as regional powers. So in that context, Pakistan would be able, it will be in a unique position actually to sell its diplomatic statecraft in terms of our relations with China, with Russia, with India, with the whole of the region. And also, we would be it will give us an opportunity to preach for the common development and common prosperity of the entire region, including Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and all countries together.
Your point well taken. Saira Ijaz, if you please comment on it, that Pakistan has just assumed Council of Head of Governments chair, and Pakistan is going to host this first ever meeting next year. So how do you see it?
It's the time that Pakistan should utilize this, thing as an opportunity, because Pakistan is ideally located and is actually is a link to all the countries of South Asia, of SCO member states. Be it Central Asian states, be it Xinjiang of China. So I guess it's high time that Pakistan should prepare itself well to, utilize this opportunity and realize its benefits because of its geographic location. And we have much to offer, and we have much to gain out of it as well. So it's time to work on the interconnectivity projects and how we can develop some opportunities for youth development in all the sectors.
Thank you very much, Saira. Yes, of course, viewers, it's a very important platform when we are talking about Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Pakistan is going to host a Council of Head of Governments meeting next year, and lots of initiatives already proposed by the caretaker Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jilani while his address in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan during the two-day meeting. And it's going to be a win-win situation for Pakistan, as Pakistan has already won the hearts of Shanghai Cooperation Organization member countries. These are not only the 9 countries, but also 24 of the countries are in some are the members of this organization. 9 are the permanent members, then observers, dialogue partners and all that, and those are all going to be here in Islamabad next year, and Pakistan is going to have ample opportunity to not only sell its diplomacy, but also take cognizant actions on all those proposed themes within Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So this is all on Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we are also going to discuss the latest situation in Gaza because Israeli defense forces, occupation forces, are still continued their barbaric bombardment on the innocent Palestinians in Gaza, and just recently they have bombarded from all 3 sides, from sea, from ground and from air, to different locations at Gaza. And also unfortunately more than 500 people just yesterday died because they have hit lots of refugee camps, and those were all innocent peoples. Majority of them are the children, women and elderly people. Rafah crossing just opened for a while, and unfortunately very little aid is disseminated to the Gaza people, but unfortunately Israel is not adhering any sort of international law, international humanitarian law and human rights law. So this is unfortunate, really. So to talk on this particular topic, Varghese, to you first, that the situation in Gaza is direly unfortunate, and Israel is not adhering any law, whether it's international, whether it's humanitarian or the human rights law. So how do you see this situation, as most of the Muslim countries are still mum at this situation?
I think we are living in prehistoric era, or in jungles, or in caves, where there is no human law, where there is no respect for the life of innocent people, or children and women. And I think Israel is a country which is now symbol of state terrorism in the world. And all humans should understand that the human dignity and human freedom, and at least their right to live in their native land, has to be respected. Just see that the Palestinians, they are being pushed from their native land, where their forefathers lived, where the graves of their forefathers are there, and they had a very bona fide right to live in that land.
Yeah, definitely. And Dr. Sahib, when you're talking about Gaza, unfortunately, the world which was propagating time and again about democracy, the human rights, and these are the Western countries, they are backing Israel with their weapons, with their aid, with their money, finances, and all that. So where is the where are the human rights and where are the humans? Because the people living in Gaza, they don't have any human rights?
I'm rather surprised that President Joe Biden has always been professing rules-based international order. So if this is the rule-based international order, then probably we are now living in a very different international order.
Where are the rules?
So if these are the rules, then probably the rules of the game have been redefined, where the innocent people and children and elderly people and women should be killed at the behest of their understanding of the war on terrorism. Unfortunately, they have said that this is 9/11 for Israel, and Israel has been given open hand with the United States fleets standing by, and their diplomatic and military support is with them guaranteed. And Prime Minister Netanyahu and his defense minister saying that this would change the picture of Middle East for future. And the defense minister saying that we will change the equation 180 degrees altogether. So that means what they are up to probably by destroying the complete infrastructure and human beings living in Gaza. The casualty figures, as I can recollect up till now, is more than 8,000 people killed and more than 20,000 injured, and out of which 3,000 innocent children have been killed. Unfortunately, this we are moving towards Holocaust. And
Dr. Your point well taken. Saira, how do you see that when we are talking about that illegitimate state of Israel and its leadership, when they call that they are wiping out Gaza and whole of the Middle East map would be changed for future, what it means?
Actually, in the name of eradicating terrorism and in the name of, claiming the right on that land, they have been given a license to, ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians and to inflict injuries and the grievous, pain on those helpless people. And their claims are never ever be justified under any thing. It's just a game of power, and they are just under the name of, sometimes they say that we are eradicating a terrorist organization, we are in the name of self-defense. They have no justification for that. They have no justification for that under any circumstances, and the West, particularly the US, is really not playing its role. Look at the role of EU, its head. She just visited Israel and she offered him, Netanyahu, the unconditional support of EU. Just look at the hypocrisy and just look at the callous attitude. I think it's the very sorry state of affairs, and the history will never forgive them.
Thank you very much, Saira Ijaz, international relations expert, was with us online. Thank you very much for joining us online. And also, thank you very much, Dr. Wasim, for being with us, and thank you very much, Brigadier Hamid Rashid Sahib, for joining us in studio. Viewers, situation in Gaza is really very unfortunate, very grim situation, because international community is not adhering any law whatsoever, that is, and unfortunately United Nations Security Council failed to halt Israel from its atrocities, hegemonic designs, and the humiliation what is going on with the unfortunately to the Palestinians. Palestinians are still under an open prison in which Israel is continuously bombarding and killing innocent civilians, all children, women and elderly people. It must have to be stopped, because Pakistan is stressing hard upon that at the state level. Pakistan's Foreign Office, along with Pakistan's permanent representative within UN Security Council and UN General Assembly, they are stressing hard upon end to this violation to the human rights, end to this war, open the humanitarian corridors, give ultimate assistance to all innocent Palestinians, which is the dire need. And this was all today. This was today's Foresight. Thank you very much for viewing, and listeners, it's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz wa Nasir.